camera's a bit dirty though. Oh, right, here we are, live in the bits. We're gonna just see. Oh my God, don't look at my hair. I wanna have a little look to see if this is gonna work as a situation. We're gonna just see. I need to go and live in. Tea time. Welcome to live chat. So yeah, this is a bit of a different one. I'm not sure how this comes around in the feed for anybody, so we're just gonna have a little look. I'm almost tempted to bring you lot over while I hang up some stuff. And when I say you lot, I mean me. I think we'll just do this. This will be nice. We'll just do this here. And we'll see if anybody jumps in. I don't know. I feel like YouTube lives have got to be something that's more capitalized on and stuff like that. We'll see. We'll see. This is a bit of a different one for me. I normally do every other live version but this. But I think YouTube is like the best platform, so let's just see if someone comments and goes, "What are you doing?" and then I'll be able to say, "I'm doing this." Let's just get a bag out. Right, you fucking. So, if anybody chats, I'll see it. But you are just joining me, if anybody's curious, you're joining me live and direct at the HQ where I work. Yeah, I should probably have done a YouTube live. I should probably have done one anyway, but I realised you can watch this as content. So, hello everybody, how are we? I might just talk as normal. What we doing? Darius, my man. You know what we're doing right now? I was coming to reignite the YouTube because I've got a big video coming out, like 3 kilo sales and a car boot challenge. I've got like a big video I'm making right now. How can I see the comments better? Can I see it like that? No. I can't see them very well. We'll just keep it like that. But yeah, man, we're doing that. So right now, to be honest with you, bro, I'm just hanging up some stuff for the kilo sale tomorrow. Just getting some more bits out because we've got quite a lot to get out, to be honest. Where's the designer? To be honest with you, in terms of the designer, I reckon I'm going to take that idea into account, you know. I'm going to do like a big designer drop. I think it makes sense, man. Like, it's one of them things, like, it's probably the best way to do it because, like, realistically, that's just going to be the best way to actually do it. So for anybody who's just jumped in, my name's Spencer. This is Gully. And this is like Reseller Chat. This is where I was just going to hang up a load of stuff for our kilo sale that's tomorrow. And I'll stop getting close to the camera. But if anybody wants to ask a question, I'll zoom in at the phone and then I'll answer it. But yeah, I've been on the... Honestly, I've been on the cards to come back to YouTube properly. And I've put so much pressure on myself to come back in a certain way that the best thing to do is the advice that I wasn't taking. You know when they say, like, if you want to get creative, just create. Stop putting pressure on what you create and just make something. Like, going live is making some form of art, even though some people might go, this isn't art, this is shit. But you know what I mean? Like, the perspectives you have are the true value to it. So we've got one of our kilo sales tomorrow. It's our final one, actually, of this little spurt. My idea, the one I said to see the different... That's it, man. Back on the tube spends. Pete, how's it going? I'll be honest with you, my friend. I've been neglecting it. Since all the TikTok stuff has happened, it's put me in between a rock and a hard place, mate. I'll be honest. I really wanted to come back to YouTube in a way that felt authentic. And I don't know why I didn't just think to just be on here, like, on a camera, just chatting. But yeah, you just joining me hanging up some stuff live. So this is just fresh from the kilo bags. So this is just stuff that will only be going for the kilo. They basically pre-organised it first. I might be hanging up stuff that they're going to go, Spen, why have you hung up this? We're not putting it out. But this is just all the stuff So anybody who doesn't know, we are sustainable activists. We save items from landfill. All these items you see have been sustainably sourced, and that's what we do. So we work together as a family unit to do that. Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, man, good to hear, Pete. I'm all good. Just sort of balancing. Again, my big thing at the moment is I'm trying to be still in the chaos. Because chaos is relative, isn't it? Like, how chaotic your life is just relative to how much you make it chaotic. And there's so much going on. I'm not even going to joke. Like, literally, so many business ideas, so many things going on at the same time. That's a cool tag. Black leopard. But I think it just seems like a good idea personally, because I see designer seems to get high demand and always want to. Yeah, that's it. It has such a high demand. But I'll be honest with you as well, man. I'll be honest with you as well, Darius. One of the big things that is difficult about designer, like just genuinely, is whoa. These are colourful. The one annoying thing about designer is people have this. They put it on such an expected pedestal. It's like, if I get you to fall in love with unbranded items like this, you will love it because of the item that it is. Whereas most of the time, people love the real, true designer just because of like lots of reasons that they've never really aligned with. They just buy it because they like it. This is actually an Orvis coat, so that is cash. That is a branded one. That go in the bale. But yeah, I'm just taking out North Face one. Jeez. Another one. This was meant to be for the kilo bags. God, they don't want me going for them before. I'll pull out all the branded stuff and make sure that the rails are right. No, I'm coming back to YouTube, guys, and I'm coming back in a proper way, in a way that makes sense. So, let me talk to you about something that's happening right now, actually. And this is something that's kind of interesting. So, I don't know whether you three people that are in here right now have heard, but I'm actually in the process of like doing a video course, right? And in my head, for the longest time, I've been thinking, the course has got to be like this. I've got to make something like this. I've got to make something that has this explanation. But then I kind of had certain conversations with myself, certain conversations with like my dad, other people. And I kind of realised, like, I think most people just want the information. I don't think they really care if it's like packaged nicely. They just want to know what you know. You know what I mean? In fact, for me, I don't see the hype behind sequins. I don't see the hype since they're kind of basic. Yeah, exactly. They are. They're just flipping. They're run of the mill, man. They're run of the mill brands. They used to have some real. Obviously, that's a real sweeping way of saying that they're run of the mill brands. But they just. Let me just position you up here. They are good brands. They've served the purpose. Massimo Osti was onto something when he created CP Company and Stone Island Marina. But what is also like a consideration for it is the same thing that happened to North Face. Look at North Face. It was a brand that was so like, it was so big, so good for its like adventure wear, and like the whole thing of Never Stop Exploring based off of that like preliminary thing, which is just like, you know, clothing made for a purpose. CP and Stone Island, clothing at one time made for a purpose. Now, ain't made for a purpose. It's made for a preference, and that preference is just, I don't know, just being trendy, isn't it? But being trendy, it's one of them funny ones, isn't it? It's like this weekend, a bit of a curveball. I bought a Carhartt sweatshirt. And I bought a Carhartt at the car boot. And that is something that goes so against what I stand for. But I realised what the whole point of it was. I never said I stopped selling Carhartt because I didn't like it. I stopped selling Carhartt because I didn't like the way that the brand was positioned in the ecosystem. And I would always sit down to the same thing, especially when it's making money. If you can buy something and make more off it, you should always do that. If it's a realistic, amount. I got a Carhartt sweatshirt for like £7. And I'm pretty sure I can get about 30 for it. So it sits within my law of 4. These are such banging G. What is that one? That one's hard. This one's a U one, Darius. Look at that. A sick one. Mob Narcos established 2019. That's it. That's actually pretty hard windbreaker, to be fair. I don't go out my way to buy a carpet. If I find it cheap enough, I take it. Yeah, exactly, man. That's the whole thing. It's by that means of like, if it's cheap enough, let me just roll up. That is sick, innit? I think I can. It's cool, man. It really is cool. It's such a nice one. But yeah, Darius, I'm flipping Darius. Carhartt, I was thinking of Dickies because I also got a Dickies jacket. But like, Carhartt is, it sits in the same pool to me as like Stussy. And I really have to tread carefully because I don't want to throw shots at the brand, because essentially what sits underneath all of this is saving items from landfill, being sustainable. Like if you're saving it from landfill, that's fair. But let's be honest, you're not really saving Carhartt from landfill. It's never going to go in the land. But yeah, this is another thing that's quite fascinating right now. Is one of the things I find the most fascinating is people's perception on what secondhand is. So I wanted to just use this video actually. I thought I'm going to come on YouTube for half an hour just to say hey. And I want to talk about the perception people have of secondhand while I'm hanging up some stuff. And a lot of it's come through from the bundles and bales that we've been selling, which I find very interesting. I sit in this field of like, the XP I have is based off of like the years of what I've done. But whoa, that's a nice one. Nice colour. But one of the biggest issues that I find at the moment is just people's perception with secondhand. Like, one of the biggest things I try and say to people, a secondhand grade A item is still a secondhand item. That's what it is. So this is the good also if you can find it for cheap, but I personally think are overvalued. Yeah, they are, man. They're super overvalued. It's an unpopular opinion because the brands are super popularized, but it is a true fact. They are overhyped and they're overstimulated by people who don't even know why they're hyped. This is the thing that I find strange. A lot of it is like, the brand has got hype, but those that buy it don't even know why it's got hype. They just buy it. And I can't even knock that mold. People love to gravitate towards things, whether it's, yo, Gangster Superior, that's cold. I love stuff like, check this one out, this is nice. I mean, like, look, this is just unbranded stuff, right? This is going to be out at our kilo sale tomorrow. Kilo sale tomorrow, and it'll be like, we'll be selling stuff for a cheap price. Yes, again, Spencer's here, we're fitting everything in. Look at that. It's a nice little jacket. Easy. Someone will be able to get this for literally like £2. Another kilo. Yes, another one tomorrow. So another kilo sale tomorrow at, another kilo sale will be tomorrow at 5:30. And this is one of the interesting things that I noticed about the kilo sale is that the kilo sales on the weekdays are so much more successful than the weekends. And I believe it's because of that post-work something to do, but also that urgency of it being less time. It's only 2 hours on a Wednesday. I personally don't wear Carhartt. Truthfully, it's not my type unless I'm doing garden. Yeah, exactly. Mate, I put on this sweatshirt that I got, this Carhartt one from the car boot, and I got raspberries down it. I just absolutely ruined it. I wonder why. Yeah, it's honestly the sort of culture and the art behind why it would be successful on a weekday, it's just down to the fact that I believe people seem to value their weekday evenings less than their weekends. Like, and this might be just a UK thing. I don't know. See what you think. But when you come to the weekend, you've got 48 hours to decide what you really want to do. Whereas in the weekday, you have this perception like, well, every night we've got a free night. Every night we've got time. And there's more time valued on your weekend than there is their weekday. So we noticed from doing 5 hours on a weekend, didn't make more money than doing 2.5 hours on a weekday. So what we're going to do is test that tomorrow, see how that goes. And if we make more tomorrow than we did on Saturday, that will solidify that weekdays are better. And I think what I will want to do going forward is definitely do Christmas build-up, so more evenings and doing stuff like that. Wish I was able to get down there, man, just to ignore the rails and take the... Honestly, I just went up to our second building, and there's so much of that material that you like up there, Darius. There's so much of it, mate. But yeah, Burghouse just sitting about. Just getting the branded ones out. I quite like going through the bag sometimes just to see what brands they've actually missed out on. But the kilo sales are super interesting. The psychology of how people spend money is interesting. It's like the way that people spend money on clothes is different to the way that people spend money on food, but you're still exchanging money. It's just that it's a different preference. Like people will buy food at any point, they will question the price less. With clothing, question things more. The cheaper it is, sometimes the more questions it gets, which is quite an ironic thing. You're actually better off pricing your items up because it brings less questions. It's impulsive buying. Yeah, it's impulsive. And I think as well, when people come to buy in-house, this is that thing. It's that souvenir mentality. I've took the time to go out of my way to actually go to this event. The least thing I can get is something to tell me that I went to the event. We live in this like mindset where it's like, even if it's just this, I need something to go, this is what I got there. Like that whole sort of, it's like the modern day version of, when people used to, like when Instagram was popping years ago, I'd go into town and take photos of all this stuff I liked. And then I'd be going around the shops. And then a couple hours later, I'd be going through and seeing like, oh, someone would be like, oh, them shoes are sick, that's that. And you'd have conversations by people seeing something you posted. Whereas now, I don't know, people just want to take that memento to have that conversation in person. Like, look, I got this jacket. You also might think I'm talking absolute baloney, that's fine. It's interesting though. It's interesting. All the stuff you get, Spence, where in the world does it come from? UK, US to Asia to Africa to bundled, then back again? Anything like that? Yeah, it's a total mixture, Pete, honestly. It's just, in the means of it being saved from landfill is by the means of all of the textile saving practices, from the donations to the recycling centres to the waste bins to just people that are connected with that industry that save material and repurpose it and then down that food chain of it. Like it's stuff that could be sourced from Pakistan to America, comes together within the UK. Stuff that was probably sent there first to then come back, and it goes around in that cycle. But the underlying thing is all the stuff that we take that we actually pay for, by the way. I know that when I had this thought when I thought, I'm saying we're selling it from landfill, and people are going to go, I'm surprised no one said, what, are you just getting it for free? The answer is absolutely not. It is not free, and it is far from free. But this is all stuff that people didn't want. And that's the thing that I find most compelling. I had a woman the other day, and this is no disrespect. She bought a Rags and Reworks bundle, which is our grade C stock. She bought it, and then she looked at it, and she binned it straight away. And she was just like, oh, this wasn't what I expected. I'm going to put it in the bin. And it's just like, that goes completely against what we're trying to do, which is like, I don't know, just be sustainable, if you know what I mean. Obviously. Similar to going to abroad and buying a souvenir, people will have the same mentality with events like Kilos. Exactly, yeah, and car boots, even if they don't place anything. That's it, bro. Like, you want to say that you went to the car boot, you want to say that you went to this event and you got something. And how much was her bundle? Her bundle, which she paid the R&R, I think she paid maybe about £1, £1.50 an item, all branded. All could be restored, but they were part of literally the Rags and Reworks. That was what was instilled online. That same like Rags and Reworks, I put some of them out on the rail, like the branded ones, to just test. Someone bought a grade C Levi's hoodie for like £6.75, and in that bundle it would have gone for £1.50. And that's the perspective. Even in person, someone's willing to pay that much for it. Like, it's not a big turnover, but £1.50 to £6.75 is still £4. And this is the thing where I sit on the mindset. I really do compound down to the smallest part of it. Like, you know what the biggest battle is that people need to realise? Is that what we actually need to do is we need to repurpose fast fashion. Because fast fashion makes up 80% of donations of textiles right now. And as a result, it's because there's so much of it bloody made. Well, that's not knowing or having wrong expectations. Exactly. Exactly, Pete. And what I'm trying to sit in the bubble of is being confident with what I know and confident with who I am based on what I know. And I mean that without arrogance. I mean that as just actuality. Like, I've done what I've done. I've built what I've built. I've understood the ecosystem. And I've got case in point for people that will put value to it. And so whenever there's a moment when someone goes, that was a bit naff, or this was this, I like to know exactly, again, rational response is to say, how can I improve? Emotional response is to assume that somebody's going, no, don't like this. If you know what I mean, like rational response, learning more about what people are actually, what the problem is. Because I want to educate people that don't know about secondhand. Grade C is generally still good condition. Yeah, remember, grade A secondhand is still secondhand. Like, however you look at it, a grade A secondhand item is a secondhand item. I mean, I know you guys remove everything from that hundreds. Yeah, exactly, bro. Like, we have a process for it, and the process that I have is something that I try and like tell people. So, I did actually just make a YouTube video because I've got one coming out on Wednesday. But look, this is how I'll break it down to you, okay? One part of what we source is these bags, yeah? They get sourced. Then we categorize them. You got your branded stuff, you got your branded categories, you got your shirts, your t-shirts. These are the little understood piles of all the stuff that comes out, right? From that stuff, when it first comes out, anything that doesn't pass the QC goes into these piles. These are the booties, are the grade Cs, the stuff that gets taken up to the other unit and then understood, brought back into the bundles. Now, how these rails are filled up, sorry about my pointing, but it's just easy. How these rails are filled up is totally all the unbranded stuff. But this is what's the funniest bit about the unbranded stuff, is that, I mean, that's a Tommy Hilfiger one. There's a Tommy Hilfiger one. So they'll probably just get pulled out or they'll get sold, Tog 24. And this is the stuff that they're putting in the kilo, that's £7.50. What do you do with what you can't ship? Do you mean, if you mean shift, good question. So, what we do with the stuff that we can't shift is we currently have material stock on the website. So what that will essentially do is people that want to repurpose and buy for that means, that's what they do. I've worked with universities in the past. I've worked with ones I've been to and ones that I haven't done. So basically, think of it, right? If this is absolutely knackered and people go, you can't sell that, well, what can it be used for? What is this material valuable for? Could you give this to a company that works with making sustainable kites? Could you say that I've got loads of nylon jackets that are just knackered material? How do you look to repurpose the stuff? The mindset that I have is nothing that I have is going in the land. So how am I keeping it on the ground? How am I keeping it above the ground? It's not going in the land, so it's staying on the ground. And that doesn't mean to say that we need to make profit all the time. So another thing that we have, that we do tomorrow, I think, will be, we have a tub here. Anything that's too damaged, people can take for free. And we do that at our kilo events. So people could literally come down and go, oh, what, this is free. And they can take it to repurpose it. And we filled that up last time and it all went. And then we just filter stuff in that, you know, has that process. If I had 1 million hours a day, I would be running around all the universities. I would be, case in point, going to them and I'm saying, look, this is what I have, this is what I can do. If you're buying it off me for £5 a key, you could sell it to a uni at 10 a key. Like, this is the mindset of people that like simplifying and streamlining the business. Like, in an ideal world, I'd be doing all these little pockets of things that I'm telling you, but realistically, I can't be bothered anymore and I need to pass them on for others that might hear to then adapt it in that, if you know what I mean. Like, this would be a great idea to take all these nylon jackets that have been like saved from landfill and taking it to somebody, like taking it to a festival seller, going to a festival, finding someone who does them and say, look, I've got loads of these cool things you could have, you could make something out of them for your people. You've got the best answer to you wellness about that is the way to save it is to repurpose it by giving it to people who are creative. This stuff that's damaged it has to go to creative minds. You need to rent a big bus and drive up and set a kilo set up in different places. I do, but I also, again, I couldn't be bothered to do that. If I pay for a premises, why am I going to leave it? This is my premises. Like, this is what I said to Marge. If we pay for a building and everything, I think it's worth and warrants people traveling. Otherwise, you're just bending over backwards for everybody else. It's besides the point, in my eyes. The bootlegs and highly damaged items he puts towards material bales and sells them as material. That's it. Exactly. Even items that look like someone got attacked by. Yeah. But like, even with that, right, Marge will have a system. Marge will even take out like grade D. And grade D at the minute, it just sits, well, I'll show you what grade D is. This is grade D. So our processes sit in all these lines. You see that out there? You can't see it because it's too overexposed. That cubby hole out there is full of the grade C. Noah's in one of those London bus and set up a shop on the bus so people can... Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea that anybody else could do as a means of buying this stuff to do it themselves. That's where I'm trying to be. I'm hoping that what I can do through the means of content and through like education is to instill some inspiration for those that want to do it. Because I can't do everything. other people need to do something. And that's like, in like the most positive way, because this is the thing, you have to encourage people by means of being encouraging. Do you know what I mean? It would be great for content. Somebody would be able to take that idea and just run with it. Maybe the thing that wouldn't be great for it would be factoring in the cost of hiring a bus and planning all the other bits of it. And that's it. I'm in a work smart, not hard mentality now. I've worked 12 years hard, and I would say 80% of them weren't smart. And that's one of the things I want to help you guys with. And that's one of the things the course is going to help you with. About understanding the system so you can work smart. Lots of ideas. There's ideas for everything. There's ideas that you can do for all sorts. But right now, I'm on Project Simplify Life, which is, to me, I think, having bales that people can buy, having a means for you to buy smaller bales, and alongside the content, hopefully, I'm going to marry the content with the product in a way where you're going to get bite-sized bits of what I would do and how I would do it, and then people that don't believe it, I'll just have to prove it and do it. But ideally, I don't want to have to go down the route of being a total reseller on individual basis again, just because I'm ready to. I'm just transitioning from that at the minute. Like for the designers bootlegs, I buy some off him every few months. So you get that, like the special D thingy one. Damaged, unrepaired Louis Vuitton stuff still costs over $300. Yeah, exactly. There's a heavy price on it, man. On stuff like that, like damaged stuff. Like it's just like there's a lot of, there's a lot of potential. That's one of the key words I'd say. It's potential. Like the potential of an item is relative for your your willingness to do something with it. Like if this was missing all the buttons, somebody would say that it's absolutely knackered, but then somebody else would say this is an overcoat cardigan. And that's just two people with a different mindset about the same item. So everything compounds down so much, if you know what I mean. Like there's just so many different ways to look at it. How I see is being the solution and making people aware of the problem. So I don't think most people really are that bothered about being sustainable. I think that's just probably that's an honest way of saying I don't think people are that bothered about the sustainability aspect. I think that they would like to, but I think it is very hard to always be consciously on the sustainability stuff. I get that. For me, that's what it is about though, and that's what I try and help by also doing the bundles and the bales and stuff. Let me just leave this here. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's crazy. Like if you were to buy a damaged LV bag, it would still cost $400. It's wild, bro. That's so much money as well, isn't it? That's so much money. Just for damaged stuff. But again, it comes down to that designer thing. Do you think it's pretentious and more people will care if educated? Good question. I think it is pretentious. I think the whole sustainability thing can come across very pretentious because the reality of it is that it costs more money to be sustainable, and as a result, people can just think that you use it as an excuse to give that warrant for price. The reality is that the minute everybody was talking about being green, you saw all these courier drivers having green vans and all this, and almost treating it like a trend. You've got these companies that saying they're using recycled plastics to make new clothing, but less than 1% of recycled plastics are actually used to create new clothing. It's just a lot of people, they're cool. It's just a lot of people, they're next as well. A lot of people using a lot of trend relation to it. I think you got to make it cool. How do people get involved with politics? You make the Prime Minister one of the most attractive people, or you find somebody who has something you know what they said, it was and this is just me saying it generally, but if you made someone like Idris Elba the Prime Minister of the UK, there would be certain people that would start taking an interest into politics. It's all about how you package it. The way that you package things is the most important part of the process, even more important than the actual knowledge you've got, because it's about how you take it to market. I generally think sustainability has to be made cool, You have to adopt the same normal behaviours that you would. Like, yo, lost 2 people as soon as I said Idris Elba for president. I know, I was just going on a bit of a weird whim then, but you know what I'm saying, right? People don't want to be told that they're shit for something that they're not doing, right? So if I turn around to you and I say, look, you lot are actually fools. How can you even buy fast fashion? I'm being part of the problem because I'm not actually helping you learn. I'm just telling you what you're not doing. It's an emotional reaction. It's not rational. Whereas telling somebody like, I don't know, going around the streets of Loughborough and asking people how many litres of water they think it takes to make a new pair of jeans and then doing a video about that, that's going to have more relatability because it's people being asked in public. But again, it's one idea that sits in a pool of many ideas about the same thing. More people would probably understand if they had the knowledge, but it does seem pretentious, as Spence said. It costs much more money. Yeah, exactly, to be sustainable. And that's for someone doing it as work. For the customer, it's cheaper to be sustainable in terms of clothing. Yeah, exactly, bro. Fast fashion, yeah. I think part of it's price as well. Charity shops can... I think part of it is price as well. Charity shop can do. Yeah, we're in many battles at the moment with different things, and you've got to simplify things. Yeah, big up, Pete. Appreciate you for jumping in. Thank you for spending the time to watch. Anyway, yeah, I think there's so many parts to the ecosystem of it, right? There's just so many parts to the ecosystem of it. And I think what people have to remember, the biggest thing I would say as a point to remember if you want to do reselling, as a free little tip, is try and figure out how to merge the fast fashion in. Try and figure out how to sell the stuff that you think nobody wants. Because, do you know what sits at the end of 10 years of taking the best bits? 10 years of all the stuff that you didn't take. And not to say for me, luckily I've had quite a good discipline with always taking mixtures of things. I've always appreciated that part of the ecosystem, and I've just always done it like that, if you know what I mean. But come back to that point, 80% of donations are fast fashion. Fast fashion is being produced at an accelerated rate. It goes in the land faster than it took to probably be made. And there's an influx now of new with tags fast fashion just ended up in charity shops and ended up in all sorts of shops. So that shows you that there's an abundance of something that people don't want because there's so much of it in charity shops, which is its third end of cycle. Charity shops isn't its end of cycle. It's just one of them. Maybe use those bits as rework items, the fast fashion bits. Yeah. Or sell them as bundles. The thing is like I said to Marge, there's still a big amount of people that want to wear fast fashion. Maybe somebody's not going to buy Shein off you. Maybe you'd only be able to sell Shein if you had 10 items and it was £1. But that's the reality of what you're investing money in. This massive economy is built up of people investing small amounts of money into something that holds up no value post that. So when you see Primark tops for £5 in charity shops, you are thinking do they even know what's going on? But then again, it's very layered because the charity shop's angle could be to promote sustainability by means of having the prices like that. You want to still keep buying the Primarks through here type thing. Even charity shops don't want to sell fast fashion. No, of course they don't. Of course they don't. But everybody's sick and tired of it. But somehow it's still one of the most booming industries. So unfortunately, the reality of it is the interest for charity shops is there. The demand for fast fashion is there. There needs to be some shift there where people go, actually, these clothes are shit. My friend who I went to the car boot with, he is somebody who buys from Shein. He buys from Shein. And I literally give him free clothes. He's a mate. He cuts my hair. I give him free clothes. I'm like, look, have this. And taking him to the car boot as somebody who's never been, as somebody who uses just Shein and uses ASOS and stuff like that, it was great to watch somebody's approach for what they were looking for. And he found a nice top, he found a nice tee, found some bits, and it was that was almost like gratification in it itself. To make over 1 billion. Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely crazy industry, bro. It's crazy industry, seriously. It's just absolutely wild. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And it's just one of them things that's going to be what it will be whilst we just slowly but surely, it's a nice jacket, slowly but surely like build it up again. I think now what I'm going to do, oh my God, this is tiny. I'm going to love you and leave you all. I'm going to jump onto TT in about 20 minutes. So if you guys want to see me on there, I'll be there for about an hour while I wait for the postman. What was that, Sam? Don't get me wrong, Shein has some good, unique clothing designs and ideas, but yeah, well, half the time, that's the one that's annoying about them, is they've got literally like massive communities of people, well, massive amount of employees taken, that will literally just troll the internet using AI to find all of the prints that they've already made, to find all the ones. The same way with what Zara do. You know, Zara has some of the most insane AI that will just basically pull all the most popular designs off the internet based off of how much they're probably selling. Going, oh yeah, this is popular with this unbranded website. Boom, take that, print that. This one's popular. Boom, take that. You think a company as big as Shein probably doesn't have some of the best developed AI already? It's probably got better than what's on the market, that's for sure. But yeah, guys, this has been a nice little chat. Appreciate you, Darius, Wellness, Pete, anybody else that was in the room. I know it's a short and sweet, well, I'm going to have to build this YouTube up slowly. This YouTube's going to be a slow build, but people might forget who I am, so I'm going to have to keep coming back and be like, hey, don't forget me. But maybe we can integrate Shein into the second-hand economy. Yeah, that's probably the better way of thinking. It's about collaborating, not competing. You're right. It's about, unfortunately, it's not within Shein's desired business model to work with second-hand, but in terms of longevity, what's ironic is if Shein invested in secondhand as a product of what they do, they would probably be more long-standing than they have been, or that they will be. I don't know. I think Shein's one of them ones. Shein is just, it just shows you that, again, back to that point, do people really care about secondhand or sustainability? Shein is a case in point to show you that a lot of people couldn't care less about being sustainable. And that's totally fine, because we all live different lives, and we don't, like, you can't, you know, your life is different to my life, is different to why I like secondhand, is different to why you like it. And that's a beautiful thing as well, because, like, again, like you said, it comes down to educate, it comes down to, like, giving the right instill of, like, knowledge on things. I think that we're in a very interesting time, and it will be super interesting how things sort of go over the next 2 to 3 years. I mean, look at Primark, the sites. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm going to love you and leave you on here. Keep this relatively short. Thank you guys for being here and jumping in. And yeah, I will be making sure to come back here on a regular occurrence. But this will be on the feed. So if you've just watched this out and about or out of hours or whatever, big up. Keep engaging with the content. Keep showing some love. And we will be back kicking up a storm. Well, we're just always kicking up a storm, aren't we? You know what I mean. But yeah, big love, guys.